So, have you guys
Never.
been hearing about the issue with the skin tones with The Sims 4?
No.
No. I've heard about it, but I haven't looked into it.
Okay. So, there's always been issues with The Sims 4 with the darker skin tones. When the game first released, they had a very small range of skin tones. I can't remember the exact number. I think it was around like 16 total. And then a couple of updates later, like I think a couple of years later, they added some darker skin tones to give a wider range, but it was still like so little range. And the skin tones were ashy and they were patchy, so they didn't have as good quality as the lighter skin tones. So recently, the Sims community has been really pushing for the wider range of skin tones, or like to have a slider or customization of the skin tones instead of having just the set ones that you can choose. And apparently, there's been an update that kind of fixed one of the issues that made the skin tones like patchy or ashy, but it made no difference. So the Sims community is really upset at EA right now for like kind of half-assing the way that they're fixing the game.
And that's without custom content, right? Because you can.
Yeah,
custom
that's without
content.
custom content. There is custom content. I actually downloaded one on my old computer that gave me like 80 different shades that I could use.
That's how I've always done it, which is actually interesting because Sims 3 was a slider. It's a slider. It's not picking. So in
And
Sims 4,
you chose the undertone that you could have.
Yeah, that's true. You did.
Sims
I like
4
that's why I
had-
like the Sims 3 way more.
Sims 3 had way more options with what your character looked like, and it was way more inclusive towards other races.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how I always saw it.
Plus-
Especially, oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
No, especially with just the way Sims 4 kind of like dumbed things down in terms of like sure they upped the way the characters look.
Yeah,
But
like
they
the
kinda,
graphics.
Yeah, but they played down like a lot of the customability. Yeah, custom. A lot of
Customization.
how you could customize it. Yeah, customization of your Sims. I don't know why I just had.
Yeah, they went for a really minimalist style where you selected things, you couldn't customize things. Because in The Sims 3, you could customize every piece of clothing that you had on too. You can make it into leather, you can make it into cloth, you can make it into like a wicker woven pattern, and you could customize the color like however you wanted. In The Sims 4, everything's really set and has little to no customization.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I can't play a Sims 4. I tried. I can't. It's like they went 20 steps backwards. And I'm sure with the updates and like with the expansions it got better, but like just the base game itself is trash. Like I can't do it.
The expansions put Sims 4 where Sims 3 was at launch.
Yeah, basically. And even the expansion packs. The expansion packs themselves are so controversial because they put so little into them. And like some of their first packs, like the first stuff pack that came out, which was only $10, which is still supposed to have like some stuff that's worth $10. It had, I think, like 11 items in the build and buy mode that weren't even like usable really. They're really, really niche, and so no one ever uses them. And then the Create a Sim items were also very, very niche, so you couldn't really ever use them for anything. And it was supposed to be luxury party stuff.
And then the first jobs expansion was extremely expensive for 2 jobs, I believe.
I believe it was 4 jobs.
4 jobs for 19.
Yeah, 4 jobs.
But all 4 of those jobs were in The Sims 3.
Yeah. I still can't get over the fact that I think it's doctor? I think it's doctor.
Doctors and lawyers, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Honestly, if it's for me to buy like the next Sims game, they're gonna have to step it up a notch because Sims 4 wasn't it. And I understand people really like it because of the graphics as well as like that being able to build housing, things are different. I felt like it wasn't really user friendly as someone who is so used to Sims 3 and Sims 2 to a point. Like it confused me. So, and I also probably just maybe I was doing it wrong, but Sims 3 to me is a lot easier. Like you said, customizing things. The fact they got rid of the color wheel seems really weird to me. Like it makes no sense.
Yeah, and then they got rid of open world.
Yeah, that's so stupid. That is so stupid. Like, why? It's not like you can't run it. Like the graphics in itself shouldn't have been an issue.
So I think
lazy.
The problem is they streamlined Sims 4 so much that it's no longer like it doesn't feel like a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing Sims is supposed to be.
Especially because the expansion packs that they have released, a lot of it is focused on like our age group, like the millennial age group, when there are so many other people that want to play on other age groups. Like if you wanted to play an elderly person, there's not really much for an elderly person. Like even the most recent pack that they released for a stuff pack, I think it was, or was it a game pack, I'm not sure, was Nifty Knitting, which is a pack focused around the craft of knitting, but they made it all like cute in the millennial sense. They didn't make it for grandmas. They made it for people our age. They're like, oh yeah, I want to learn how to knit. So they didn't like even expand that much for grandmas.
So do you think they did that because they were trying to play with a different demographic, like a younger audience, or they didn't realize that they need to make it easy, but also their audience is growing? Because I mean, it's over a 20-year-old game at this point, like the franchise itself.
Mhm.
So you'd think they'd age up a little bit, not to the point where it's no longer a kid's game, of course, because it is a kid's game at the end of the day. But I feel like even Nintendo, to a point, like a lot of the games that I've seen, it seems like they're going backwards because they feel like they need to for simplicity,
Mhm.
and you don't.
Yeah, I think they are just really focused on their millennial kind of age group that plays the game currently.
To take a marketing standpoint from it, I can actually see that they're probably doing that because, as you said, everything's focused like on millennial stuff, and I'm willing to guess a lot of the people who are playing The Sims, at least around the time 3 was coming out, was mostly millennials, probably some kids, but what EA and the company that made The Sims decided to really focus on was more the millennial audience for the next game. So they streamlined everything, tried making it look hip, cool, like stuff that would be into like the more millennial age. And then once they packaged it out, they kind of just forgot to put in the stuff that kind of united everyone, which was the more open world aspect, the customization behind it, along with just the general livability of the world. Because in Sims 4, it doesn't feel like it's a living world. It just feels like, oh, I'm just watching this family live on
And it feels like
a
it's very
block.
closed off as well, because like in The Sims 4 it has the neighborhood function where like there are 4 houses in this neighborhood, and then you have to go to another neighborhood, but you have to go through a loading screen to get to the rest of the neighborhood, so it kind of it discourages you from seeing the rest of the world. While in The Sims 3, you could go anywhere. Like, you could even look around the world while your sim is sleeping. I used to do that all the time. While my sim had to sleep through 8 hours, I would just kind of go around in free cam mode and look around. I've seen a lot of the controversy where people fight about whether or not 4 or 3 is better. I feel like they both have their strengths. Like 4 does have the best graphics out of all of the Sims games. I personally like them. A lot of people say that the actual Sims, like their emotive faces, is a little bit too much and it's too unrealistic and it like makes them look like aliens. I personally like them. I feel like it conveys the emotion really well. But it doesn't have the open world that I've always loved.
I think with Sims 3, the graphics are obviously not as good because it's an older game. Came out in 09, but early 09. But I do kind of agree with the whole they do the Sims now look kind of cartoonish. Like to me, the Sims 3, you can make your character look pretty. Like of course, this again with custom content, but you can make it look pretty real. Where for Sims 4, even with custom content, I feel like it's still you get that cartoon effect, which is perfectly fine. That's not a jab at the developers. Like that's fine. That's just a different look. It's a different game in itself. But
Yeah.
I just like it, especially from a custom content standpoint. I feel like the range is so much better, especially it. But it ties down to being able to customize a lot better, because I think with The Sims 4, isn't it? There's presets, like you can't change those, or can you change those?
Okay, so there are presets. You can change them, but the way that you change them is so particular because you click on their face and you slide it places. Like physically you manipulate it. It's like sculpting clay basically. It doesn't have the sliders like The Sims 3 does where it's a physical slider and you like move the little notch back and forth. So you can't exactly see to what level you're making something expand or contract. It's kind of like you just have to look at it, and it doesn't have a quantitative feel to it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is nice. I just wish there was like the more basic clothing.
Yeah, in regards to the expansion packs, that's one thing I do actually prefer to some degree in 4. I like how it actually works with the occult sim stuff more. Like, there's the Magician DLC, and each comes with their own skill tree and something like that, which I actually think is kind of interesting. You have to gain XP by, with magic, just doing magic, then you can unlock easier to cast, like an easier way to cast spells. You can get extra added on bonuses. For vampires, you get more power, so you can really manipulate your vampire into like what you want. So it could be like a Twilight level vampire to the point where then you can just make Nosferatu because it'll just start gagging and like hissing randomly, and it's actually pretty interesting.
I do think it's a little bit weird how little control you have over your Sims, because if you start a Sims family with a normal person and a vampire, you don't get to choose the normal person's reaction to finding out the partner's a vampire.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a random effect, and it's like this 90% chance they have a bad one.
And on the same vein of thought, so in The Sims 3, you got to choose the autonomy of your sim by saying, like, they have no autonomy, I control everything they do. They have full autonomy, they can do whatever they want, or partial autonomy, where they can do some things, like if they have a lull in what they're doing, they can do something, but I can cancel it and everything.
Or not
But,
stand in a fire.
sorry?
Or not stand in a fire.
The fires, oh my goodness. So in The Sims 4, it's either no autonomy or full autonomy. You can't give them partial autonomy where they can sometimes do something that they want to do. So it makes it super frustrating where, like, if I have like a bigger family, I want to put on full autonomy so that way they can take care of themselves, but then they do stupid stuff because I can't control them all the time. I can't be in all places at once because then it would take a full hour to go through one day in The Sims. And then with the fires as well, they only just recently in The Sims 4 added firefighters. This game has been 6 years old, and they just
Really?
added firefighters in a recent update.
So
Firefighters.
what would happen if you had a fire?
Your
Then?
Sims had to put it out themselves.
Damn.
That
Yeah,
sucks.
and again, that was something that was just baseline Sims 3 had firefighters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same
and
with
you didn't
police.
have policemen either. No policemen.
So
Yeah,
what were
security
people
and
paying
stuff.
for? It feels like you're playing an incomplete game with the base.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
That's-
not worth the money. I got lucky because I got it when it was free there was the promo a couple of years ago. I think when something was coming out, and I got it for free, and it wasn't even worth free because I was like, "There's nothing to do."
They gave it for free with the release of the Vampire DLC because originally it was like $50.
Mm-hmm. I got it
Do
for
it.
$5 when it had a really good sale.
I got it for
Yeah.
free.
I got
What?
it for pretty cheap.
Yeah, I didn't get it upon release. I kept playing The Sims 3 for a while, and I didn't get The Sims 4. Mainly because I didn't want to switch, but also because, like, I heard that Sims 4 wasn't as good. And then I started playing Sims 4, and honestly, I feel like it does run smoother, so I do prefer to use it for the smoothness, and it does come out with new content. But The Sims 3, I always miss other things about it. Like, every time I run into an issue on The Sims 4, I'm like, I could have done this in The Sims 3.
And
yeah.
then like the Sims 3 like expansion packs had a lot more to them. Like the medieval one added just like basically a whole new world with a bunch of NPCs that act completely differently with its own quest line.
I never got any of the Sims 3 DLCs because I didn't have money when I was a little child. But I've gotten a lot of the packs for the Sims 4. I've spent $100 at this point on Sims 4 and the packs. And I've only gotten really the realistic packs. I've gotten the Realm of Magic one because I wanted to have magic, see how it worked, but it wasn't really as fun as I thought it was. The magic system was really weird and I couldn't figure out how to use it. So I've been sticking with the realistic areas.
Didn't they have anyone else here played the medieval expansion from Sims 3? Didn't they have a magic system in that one?
I think so.
I don't
Go
actually
for it.
know. I didn't play the medieval one because I didn't know that was an expansion. I thought it was a separate game, and I just never figured out to get like a way to get it.
I think there
Yeah.
was Sims Medieval on its own, but I think there was an expansion pack for Medieval.
It
for
was
Sims
sold
3.
as Sims Medieval. It was a $49.99 expansion package.
Oh,
Damn.
wow.
It was just treated as an expansion.
I might have
I-
to pick it up then.
It's like
have-
$5 now.
Oh, it's cheap. I have all of the expansions pretty much for Sims 3. All the major ones, I think. There's only a few I don't have, and I can't remember which ones they are. I know I have University, Pets. I think I have Medieval, and like all some smaller ones too. But it's interesting to me that there's still a pretty solid community, like of the Sims 3 actual like community page, because people are still uploading their creations, which I thought for sure would be dead. But I'm still finding people that are uploading like houses, builds, and all of that. So I don't. Now, of course, I'm not part of the Sims 4 community, so I don't know how big it is or how widespread it is. But Sims 3 seems pretty wholesome. There's some people
Yeah.
that are like super into it, of course, with every game. There's just crazies.
Mhm.
But I like that community a lot more, just because I felt like people aren't as angry.
Yeah, The
'Cause
Sims 4 itself
yeah.
definitely is still like really popular. I feel like the community is much more strong-willed. Like we are kind of like taking EA by its shoulders and shaking it back and forth until it gives us better usage of like babies, because babies currently in Sims 4, they're basically objects. You can't really do anything with them. And then we are really pushing them to add in cars, because we still do not have cars.
You don't have cars?
6
Yeah,
years
there's no
later
cars.
and we don't have cars.
This
Uber's really big in the Sims 4 world.
Yeah.
this kind of just solidifies my point. I don't know. Like I don't think Sims 4 is a good game. I'm sorry. I think that EA or whoever, like the developers probably themselves are great. If EA probably had something to do with it, but I feel like they just tanked it, because unless either they need to finish Sims 4 and give y'all the content that's like at this point necessary, because it's stupid. It's been years, or scratch it, say okay, we're just gonna do a whole new game. Actually, listen to the community and release a game that's not needed 10 million DLC just to
Mhm.
play base. Like that seems crazy to me that there's not even firefighters.
They did add
Or
firefighters,
police.
though. They do have
Yeah.
firefighters and police now, at
So-
least.
How many years later, though? You said? It was
Exactly.
a couple of years.
6
That's
years.
stupid. That's stupid. Why? My thing is, every game after like Sims 1, Sims 2, Sims 3, whatever, so on, should add the base level of each one and add to it, not take away. It doesn't make sense to take away. That seems really stupid.
So to have you could spend up to $250, I believe, on the Sims 4, and it still wouldn't have as many jobs as the Sims 3 does.
That's not worth it to me.
That's not counting cars. That's counting a dumbed down AI. Like the AI doesn't
Mhm.
react the same way. People don't hold grudges in Sims 4.
Yeah. They don't have memories, really.
You could literally push someone to the ground and then marry them the same day.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
have a lot of like that escapism, because like for me, Sims 3, whenever I'm stressed or like have really bad just like mental health days, I'll go on the Sims 3, make a house, be like dream house, dream family, whatever, make this whole like scenario, and let them. I do let them play it out, see what happens, because I like to watch it. That's just how I play. But at least I feel like there's something of substance. I don't think I could do that with Sims 4. I feel like it'd just be very like
Honestly,
bad.
it takes away my favorite aspect of The Sims, which is escapism.
Mhm.
Which is why I still play Sims 3. There's a really strong modding community out that will actually make it run a lot smoother. You can get it running at like 60 frames a second.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of modders around it who are just trying to keep it up with the times, which is really nice. What Sims 4 has done, I think it'll be better, but the problem is they have so much catching up to do. They're
Mhm.
better off making a new game. But I feel like it's just the EA is busy selling you firefighters.
Yeah. And also, the most recent game pack, Journey to Batuu, where they put Star Wars into The Sims, most people in the Sims community did not ask for that. So they're very upset at EA for just taking a cash grab instead of actually giving the people in the community what they want.
You know what though? That's pretty cool. Honestly, that's if they had a more solid game, that'd be a cool expansion to get.
It would, yeah. As long as like they actually hit all the points that the community has been wanting for 6 years and they actually address them.
You could set up a crazy world where you have a bunch of Star Wars people. You have the Aliens expansion, so you can have the Sims aliens. You can also have vampires.
Yeah, but the thing is with the Star Wars pack, the aliens there don't actually travel to the rest of the Sims world. They stay in Batuu.
Yeah, but you can set up a house there now.
You cannot set up a house there. You can live there at like an inn, but you can't live there.
Yeah, it's really restrictive. I played
It
a little
is.
bit of it just to
So
like test it out.
How much is it?
The game pack is $20.
I spend $20 for a Disneyland attraction.
Yeah, basically.
That sucks. I think too, I also am biased because I don't like EA a little bit, because I feel like they
Yeah.
destroyed all my games that I like. Same with Activision, same thing. It's just, sorry, I thought I heard something. I just feel like it's like someone else said, cash money, like cash grab. They'd rather milk it and get as much money they can from people who think that'll make the game better, versus actually making the game better and just promising. It's like, oh yeah, we're definitely listening to you, we're listening to you, we hear you, and then like you said, they say they hear you, and then they release something that no one wanted
Mm-hmm.
that does nothing to the like nothing to the game. So it's
And
just
that even like even and it's like from what you say, like a poor expansion, it's an expansion that like won't get a Star Wars fan. Like I can set up a sim in the Star Wars world. No, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Stuck at a Holiday Inn.
I will
Like, what's
say
the
that
point?
the expansion, or not the expansion, the game pack itself is really cool. I really like the way that they did it, and like the new techniques they employed with like having a rabbit hole type thing where you can still go into different areas without having a loading screen. But just it wasn't what anyone asked for.
But my main thing is I don't think there's much blame to be put on EA. EA is a company. They do what makes them money. If the Sims 4 community just wouldn't buy these expansions, they wouldn't make them, and they'd make a better game.
I have thought about that point as well. Like if we keep buying them, then they're gonna keep making them.
Honestly, if no one bought the Firefighter expansion, like no one.
There was no Firefighter expansion. They just did an update.
Okay. I assumed it was an expansion.
No, they updated it into the base game.
But even so, like some of the jobs that should have been there from the beginning, if no one bought doctors and lawyers, it'd be a free expansion back.
Which, by the way, I don't think you can actually be a firefighter in The Sims 4. I don't think you can.
Wait for 1999.
Thanks.
Yeah.
They're gonna make a expansion pack called First Responders.
But it's also I think it solely relies on people speaking. People are speaking with their voice, but not their wallet, and that's all companies care about.
I feel like that's hard to do though too, because there's such a diverse group of people who actually care versus people who are just buying it to play and don't know. I mean,
honestly,
it's the same thing you could say for Blizzard.
Especially with the Sims community, I think it's something that's like, I guess now it's becoming a big thing, so I guess we'll have to wait and see how like the actual effect that the community can have on EA and Maxim. Is that's
Maxis.
at least, well, yeah, I feel like now that the community is actually starting to take more of a stand with it, maybe we'll see improvement. I don't actually know. Journey to Batu was a disappointment, and I didn't really. I'm happy that I didn't really pay a lot of money for it. It was mostly just for me to see like what it was like, and I love Star Wars, so yeah, I'm an idiot for buying it. But any other expansion packs for 4, I'm not planning on buying. And I think it'll be interesting to see how the community like reacts with this going forward.
I mean, to get a lot of the people from The Sims 3 into The Sims 4, they're gonna have to make a lot of that DLC free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's gonna spend $300 on an inferior.
That's how they get me, is if they released it, or even like $1 or something, or like $5 or whatever, not the 20 plus or whatever. Because I know back in the day, Sims 3 expansions were $20 per, except for like the resource packs kind of deal.
The resource packs were like $5, I think.
Yeah, they're like $5, which is, I feel like that's fine. But I definitely, I mean, I wouldn't even pay for the base game. That's how bad. So, I mean, it take a lot, and I honestly hope one day it is, and they realize, oh, we messed up. Maybe we should just do this instead and fix it. Not even make a new game, just fix it. Like, own up to it and just say, okay, yep, we messed up. Here you go. Here's what we're gonna do better in the future, and then that, I feel like that would be a lot better.
I feel like honestly, if they made a major update of open world, I would play it for the rest of my life and never give it up.
I think they should add the option too, because the reason for there not being open world is because people who don't have money for high end. That was the thought process of them getting rid of it.
I never had an issue with open world though. When I ran on a very low end laptop, I never had an issue with the open world.
The graphics were different. It was on a different engine.
Okay.
It was on a much easier to run engine.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's true.
The cartoony graphics they use are actually extremely hard to run.
Okay.
It's harder to run than somewhat semi-realistic. They were running for Sims 3.
Huh.
Yeah, especially if like They're technically simulating everyone in like every different house at the same time. Yeah.
But what was your guys' first Sims game?
Mine was Sims 3 when I was like 8 years old.
Sims 2. I love Sims 2.
Let me think about that. I think technically my first one I saw was Sims 2 because my sister would play it all the time, and I used to just watch her play it. When I got into middle school, I think I just bought 3 on a summer sale or something like that. So I just, over time, as I grew up, I kind of like played it more and more. I'd buy the expansion packs for 3.
I found it because I saw like back when Sims music videos were a thing. I'm sure they still are, but like they were really big on YouTube at the time. And I was just like, this looks so cool. And then I figured out that you can do custom content. So I was just gone from there. And I actually really I wish Sims 2 had a better toddler. They had the toddler phase or whatever it was, or infant, and then there's like different.
Yeah,
there's a
they
different
added
stage.
the toddler phase.
Yeah, I love that. And I wish it was a little bit better in Sims 3. Like they did regress a little bit with like the kids stages. In
Oh,
Sims
you
3.
don't even know about Sims 4, the toddler thing. They didn't have
It's gone.
toddlers for a while.
Yeah, it's gone.
They have toddlers now. Oh, good job.
They do?
They do have toddlers now, but when it first released, they had no toddlers.
It looks yeah.
It was
That's
so
why I really like
weird.
Sims 2.
Sims 2 is the holy grail that a lot of Simmers, like, they basically worship the Sims 2.
If they would make an HD, or like kind of like how Age of Empires and some other old games are redefining their games, doing definitive editions, if they did that with The Sims 2, I'd leave Sims 3. I don't even care about like the different customization issues with Sims 2. I'd leave it. I loved it. It was such a great game.
My first Sims was actually Sims Pet for the Game Boy.
Oh, wait, I actually did play a
that.
Sims game on my Nintendo DS. I don't know if I played it
I had
before.
the
I played
PSP.
Sims 4,
I had on the
Sims 3,
PSP back in the day.
So it had a total of like 4 polygons. You could have one color clothing. So so my favorite color was orange. So I just had a bright orange shirt and bright orange pants because you could choose differently.
I will say, though, that the issue with consoles is still very big because, like, if you're on a PC, like, of course, you can download custom content and mods.
That's the issue with consoles.
So, you can download custom content and everything if you feel like it's, like, you can't be represented, so you need custom content to represent yourself. But on console, you can't do that. You can't just download custom content, so
That's
you
why
can...
I don't like console. Like
Yeah.
anything. I can't play console anymore.
A lot of games, especially Microsoft, has been open to now allowing you to mod.
Really?
Yeah, you can mod Skyrim now. I broke my Skyrim too. I had 362 mods.
Jesus.
But I had 361 before it broke.
I think I probably
good.
had around that amount of custom content on my Sims 4 game on my last computer. I downloaded custom
I have
content
so
constantly.
much. I can't even tell you how much I have, especially.
I think I spent more time finding custom content than I did playing the game.
That's me. I'll spend hours on modthesims.com and I'll download all this stuff and spend hours going through it, and half of it won't work, and then I'll get in the game and I'll use the same exact stuff that I was using before, but I'll feel like it's full, it's complete, it's good, and then I'll spend an hour in the game and be like, okay, I'm bored now. It's more fun to me to look for the things than to do it.
I always had a much more fun time like making a family, and then
Yeah.
like I really like the furthest I ever got in The Sims 3 is like 1 generation. The big problem is if you play enough, you actually run out of your city becomes one big family.
Yep.
The Sims 3 didn't let that happen because they kept spawning in new families.
Yeah.
But The Sims 4 doesn't do that. So you can literally just have one city, one big family.
Sims 4, though, does have an option where it will fill empty houses. So you could theoretically, like, just make a bunch of houses in... Because, like, there's a world where it doesn't have any houses built. You could just build a bunch of houses, and then Sims 4 will just create families for it.
I'm awful because I'd spent all this time on making a family, and I'd never let the kids get married because I didn't want them to marry any ugly Sims.
I know!
Yeah.
Okay, that's a
And all of
problem.
them,
It's a
like,
problem. Every time I find someone that I want my Sim to be with, I have to go and cheat to recreate them and create a Sim, so that way they don't look awful.
I did that once, and I had to have my Sim cause a divorce.
Okay, the thing too with that is, like, the Sims not having memories, like, that stuff is inconsequential.
Yeah.
Because like I
it was
remember in The
very
Sims 3, if you
fun.
broke up a marriage, like the other spouse would hate you for the rest of their life.
Yeah, it's true.
Did they have child support in 3?
Did
Yes.
they? I don't remember
I think
that.
so.
I don't think I ever
I
broke
think
up a
they did.
marriage.
There's adoption. I know that they can take away your kid.
Oh yeah,
with
they can do
CPS.
that in The Sims 4 as well. There is one thing that I think is so weird about like The Sims 4. The way the aspirations work is different. In The Sims 3, the aspiration is more career stuff. So like it would be reach such and such branch in this career. In The Sims 4, a lot of it is more like skill based, and it's I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't like it because it's a lot easier to complete in an aspiration to be something that's hard to do. Like an aspiration to become president of the United States or aspire to, flirt with someone.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like the simulation and the customization and the world. I even would argue that I think The Sims 3 looks better than The Sims 4.
That's how I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But not base. Like the graphics itself aren't as great, but the potential.
HD mod.
Well,
HD
no,
mod.
but the potential of it is a
the
lot
potential's
better.
there to where there's third party people who can make it look better.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But I still think that, and as a whole, the game industry, I've noticed this, like, because of certain games, like, same with, like, and Nintendo the same way, because Animal Crossing is the same exact thing. There's a trend of dumbing things down to a point, because that's how Sims 4 was. It felt like it was a very dumbed down version of it. Animal Crossing was the same way, very same mechanics, but just slightly different, because it feels like they're still trying to attribute to a younger audience when they forget that even the younger audiences have grown up with technology and they don't need as much hand holding.
Exactly.
I felt way too much hand holding with Sims 4, and I was just like, screw that. I am 23 or 22. I'm not gonna handhold anymore. I'm good.
Oh, The
Gotta love it.
Sims.
I love The Sims. It'll always be one of those like treasured things, like
It'll
memories.
It'll be a game that everyone has one Sims game that they will go back to. They will go back to constantly. For me, it's Sims 3. For a lot of other people, it's going to be The Sims 2. I don't see anyone staying stuck on Sims 4.
Unless they dramatically change the game, once they release Sims 5, I'll probably stick with Sims 5. If it's better than Sims 4, I'm really hoping it is. If it's not, then I'm just going to go back to Sims 3 for the rest of my life.
If it isn't, that kind of just tells you the franchise, it's time for it to end and just let it go and do something new.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
it sucks, but if they're not going to adjust it and they're not going to fix it, then it's done. Like, there's no reason for it. Just you have the base, you have the other games already.
They have the templates. They have the concepts. It's not like they're running out of concepts.
Right. Like there's so much potential. That's what upset me about Sims 4. There was so much potential, and it's like they just looked at it and went, "Nah, I'm good," and just to release an unfinished game.
Sims 4 has all the potential in the world, but it just a letdown at almost every point. Even some of the DLCs are a huge letdown. DLCs that they released that are supposed to mirror Sims 3 ones, which made a lot of people mad, by the way, that they had Sims 4 DLC that mirrors Sims 3, because a lot of people think that content should just be.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But it's just a dumbed down version of it. Like, I believe, can't you become president in Sims 3?
Yeah, leader of the free world.
Yeah, and you can't. There is no politician aspiration in Sims 3. The closest that to it is car salesman. And that's such a basic job that so many people have interest in, politician, that it's a wonder why it's not in there. But they have secret agent.
Yeah, but they don't have police officer until you. I don't think they have police officer even in Get to Work.
I think they do, actually.
Do they?
Yeah, they do in Get to Work.
Okay.
But it's
the fact that it took an expansion pack to get a police officer career is ridiculous.
My thing with expansions is that it's an expansion of the content. It shouldn't be you have to buy it in order to enjoy the game. The game should be able, like Sims 3 base, honestly, I can enjoy that without everything. Now the extras are great, don't get me wrong, but I don't need that. But I feel like you need it for Sims 4. Like you can't just have the base. But that shouldn't be the case. Like that's just bad
Like I
design.
said, to play properly Sims 4, you need to spend about 200 to 200.
Yeah, like that's so stupid. It's like play to win almost, but you don't win
Basically.
anything. in Sims 4.
It's pay to play.
Pay to
Yeah,
play.
pay to play. That's right. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is not. It doesn't make sense.
With a $60
Like I mean,
release game.
yeah, it's right. It's $60 if you didn't get on sale or what have you, and there's nothing, like just nothing.
I think it should have most of the content that would be viable in just the base game.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Firefighters, police officers, doctors, lawyers, politicians.
And can we agree that seasons should just be part of a regular game?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Wait. You don't have seasons in Sims 4?
No, I do have seasons in
You don't
Sims
in
4.
Sims 3 either.
But you have to buy it.
You did
I-
have to buy it in Sims 3?
Yeah.
They must have suckered me a lot of money then.
Oh my god,
They
I
had
spent so
every
much money on
expansion.
Sims 3.
But the problem is the quality was so much better. I didn't even remember that you had to buy the seasons in Sims 3.
All right, well, I think we're kind of winding down here unless anyone has any closing statements.
Oh, the dog says bye.
All right, everyone. Well, I will see you later. Thank you again for joining me. And you guys
Okay.
have a wonderful, wonderful simming.
Yep, I'll try.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.